Alrighty, and we are live for game one between Sanity's Eclipse and Waifu and Senpais. These two teams have been incredibly successful through this Season 8 playoff run in the AD2L League. Both teams obviously coming up through the heroic North America playoff bracket, and they are now meeting each other in the finals. So the winner of this match, not necessarily this game, but this meeting between the two teams, is going to go on to face No Fear Dota for the championship game. That's going to be held next week. So, a lot on the line here. It's win and go to the championship, lose, and your entire season run ends. And what I believe is going to be a third place or fourth place finish here. They just kind of, they don't have a losers bracket, so it'll be tied for third between whoever loses this and Intensity. Right out the gate, both teams quick to ban. They know who they like, who they don't like. These teams have been playing more than their fair share of Dota here recently, so I'm sure they're coming into this matchup with a game plan in mind. They know what they want to do. I know for a fact, actually, that both teams have researched each other, their players, their play styles, and things of that nature. Right out the door, you see a lot of very heavy... got an extra follow in there. Thank you, Discard. We have a lot of very popular heroes of this meta immediately banned off. The Bloodseeker, Lesharok, Queen of Pain are all very popular bans. Gyrocopter, I'd say he's picked up more often than he's banned, but it's about 50-50, and if he's not banned, he is picked, and if he's not picked, he is banned. So,
Keeper of the Light.
Similarly, Anti-Mage, a very popular hero of this meta. He's got incredible farm potential, and if you let him go past that 35-40 minute mark, he becomes near unstoppable as he becomes quickly 6-slotted. And he's also a hero that can split push fairly effectively once he has some Boots of Travel, his Battle Fury, and that additional mobility outside of his blink to get all around the map and ensure that the creep waves are constantly being pushed into enemy towers. On the other side of the fence, you have Sanity's Eclipse, seeming to pick up heroes that favor a larger scale team fight skirmish when they do get into the pushing component of the game near the mid-game mark. They got Keeper of the Light with his Illuminate Blast, you have Undying with his Tombstone, and so both of those heroes are going to be throwing down massive AoE damage and blinds and everything else, and that's one of the skills that I think is most overlooked by Keeper of the Light, is his Blinding Light, which is an 80% miss chance, and if he's able to pop that off against Templar Assassin and Anti-Mage in each of the big team fights, it'll be challenging for Waifu and Senpai, who their first two picks have been focused on those right-click heroes. And as I've been chatting away here, the second round of bans have been already completed. So you have Phantom Lancer and Slardar. Yeah, right? Yeah. For some reason I wanted to call him Slark. Slardar. I haven't seen Slardar banned in a while. That might be due to some of the research that Waifu and Senpai have been doing, but they ban out the Phantom Lancer, the Slardar, and then on the other side of the fence, Sanity's Eclipse banning out a couple supports, the Visage and Lion. But Waifu and Senpai pick up one of the supports still sitting out there, and Alina. I say support Lina because I presume that TA is going to be playing that middle role. And that's one thing that Waifu is doing pretty early here. If you're going with the normal laning procedures, you're going to have Anti-Mage in the safe lane as your hard carry, Templar Assassin in the mid lane, So you've already shown
Wind
essentially
Ranger at
two of your
service.
strongest cores
Dire crew.
before
pick.
Sanity's Eclipse have really shown too much. They showed the Undying and the offlane, sure, and then a support on Keeper of the Light, but that doesn't mean much. They can still take that lineup any number of directions. And the direction they choose to take it for now, at least, is the Wind Ranger, aka Wind Runner.
10 seconds remain. 5 seconds remain. Reserve time.
So for the first time so far, we actually have some people eating into their reserve time a bit, and Waifu and Senpai are thinking about their fourth overall choice here. As it sits, they have a lot of damage on the board. They have a lot of the early damage coming by way of Lena, and depending on how they play her and how much experience they're willing to let her soak up in the early part of the game, she can get to that level 6 pretty quick with Laguna Blade, and that makes her one of the highest damage outputs at level 6, because between Light Strike Array, Dragon Slave,
Winter Waifu.
and her Laguna Blade, you can just
Radiant
melt
crew
pretty much
pick.
anybody, at least anybody on Sanity's Eclipse side of the fence currently. And then through the mid game and into the end game, they obviously have TA and Anti-Mage who speak for themselves in terms of mid to late game damages. But for their fourth pick, they pick up Winter Wyvern, a very
10
common pickup in this
seconds
meta, a
remain.
very popular support, quickly usurping some of
5
the
seconds remain.
supports that you've seen kind of stand the test of time a bit more. Even heroes
Dire
like
crew back.
VS with a reliable stun and everything else. And part of it's because Winter has his own disables with Winter's Curse and things like that. Some nuke damage out of Splinter Blast, but I think the
10 seconds
item that
remain.
really gives him the advantage over other supports is this Cold
5
Embrace,
seconds
which
remain.
heals up allies and, more importantly, pretty much cocoons them
Reserve time.
in ice and prevents any damage befalling them. Because right now, yeah, there's an Illuminate Blast that can pierce it, but everything else they're going to be pretty much immune to. Power Shot would make it through, and some of Undying's magic, but he's not really a nuker. So they have no hard nuke damage, so as long as Winter gets that Cold Embrace off at a relatively early cast time, then he'll be able to
Radiant
save the
crew
lives of some of his
ban.
allies here pretty easily. For the final ban, Waifu and Senpai decide to ban out to the Juggernaut, taking away one of the hard carries out there.
10 seconds remain.
And as it
5
sits,
seconds
it definitely
remain.
looks like that's what Sanity's Eclipse are going to be looking to fill their lineup with.
Reserve time.
They have two potential mids. I mean, Wind Ranger can rotate anywhere she wants in the game. She can play a mid role, off lane, both of those with ease. She also plays support from time to time. So we'll see how they wind up using her. And Viper, I've actually seen played support a number of different times here lately.
Dire crew
Obviously, his
pick.
more traditional role is hanging out in the middle lane, especially going up against a Templar Assassin, burning some of those refractions off with his poison. We'll likely see that as the mid lineup, unless either of the teams decide to throw a curveball out there. But the final ban from Sanity's Eclipse coming out is Nature's Prophet.
10 seconds remain.
And Waifu and Senpai is probably looking to pick up an
5
offlane here for
seconds
themselves.
remain.
And Nature's Prophet is one of those that would give
Reserve time.
Waifu's team even more split push potential if you combine an anti-mage with Boots of Travel and a Nature's Prophet. They're able to very quickly push a
10
lane forward
seconds remain.
and then retreat back to base if need be, or
Radiant crew.
and they pick up another hero that's just as strong with that pushing potential. They pick up a Brood Mother for that off lane. Now there's some AoE damage here on Sanity's Eclipse side, and another strong response to those spiderlings is going to be the press the attack coming out from Legion Commander. So the teams are set. Both teams assigning their players to each of their roles, and I like that Panda picking up the Viper, so we'll likely see Viper go mid as suspected, with my old friend and teammate Moving Target playing the Brood Mother. So best of luck to him. It's going to be a hard lane, I think, as he'll have to
remain.
eat his way through Legion
5
Commander,
seconds
Keeper of the
remain.
Light Blasts, and possibly some power shots. Right out the door, we have a pause, which is good because I think there might be some issues with my Twitch chat not refreshing. So I'll take a look at that. But it also gives me a chance to introduce both teams. So I'm going to start over with Sanity's Eclipse on the Dire, and presuming they do not I am still not accustomed to casting in Reborn. I'm still not accustomed to casting in Reborn. I can't select the heroes. But I usually like to give you the lowdown profile shots of each of the heroes. You get a better sense of their cosmetics and everything like that. But just for the sake of ease and everything else, I'll go through the old-fashioned way. So, play Keeper of the Light, you're going to have Jet Sujero. On Viper, you have Kinade. Blue's going to be playing what I presume to be the off lane with Undying / Dirge. I still haven't been able to shake the old Dota naming scheme, and for some reason Dirge is one of the hardest for me. I'm constantly referring to him by his old Dota 2 name. His old Dota 1 name, in fact. On the Wind Ranger, you have I Like That Panda. So with the trade between Viper and Wind Ranger, I Like That Panda is Sanity's Eclipse typical mid player. So we'll see if they do put Wind Runner mid, or if they decide to have Kinade fill that role on the team. And then last but certainly not least, you have Bidman playing the Legion Commander for the Radiant side. Moving over to the Dire side, Waifu and Senpais. You have Yen playing Templar Assassin. Twitch.tv / Coffee King playing the Anti-Mage, getting his free Twitch channel plugs in there. Coffee King channel, #2 channel on Twitch, obviously following the #1 channel, Darmin Cast. Playing Lena, you have Galactic, and Winter Wyvern is going to be played by Karilu? I'll go with Karilu. If it's not Karilu, it'll be Carrie. And then one of my old friends and teammates, Moving Target, twitching his way around the bottom lane as Brood Mother. Right away, you have both teams kind of positioning themselves to defend their usual wards. Sanity's Eclipse popping a smoke to see if they can't get the jump on an overly aggressive Waifu, but it looks like both teams are gonna take a bit more of a defensive stance here, and barring anything too crazy, you'll see the starter runes go 1 and 1. Moving target moving in, seeing if he can snipe it, but he decides just to let it go. But meanwhile, in the top lane, Nade may be getting a little bit too far out, but this time it's Coffee King actually blinking forward to try to bring down the rotating Radiant members who were just trying to get to their lanes, and everybody else from Waifu and Senpais kind of backs to their side of the river and decides, hey, we're not ready to commit to pass the Ancients quite yet. So first blood is drawn as Anti-Mage tries to play a bit aggressive and get some of that first blood. Did he also get... Nope, Templar Assassin got the bounty, but Viper took first blood. And it doesn't take much time for him to get back to lane and get a kill of his own. Immediately, I presume, teleporting to the top lane and going on Keeper of the Light, saying, hey, you got away last time, but this time, I'm coming for you. And since he had the support of his supports, he was able to do so. Fair amount of damage coming out on Canadian, and this top lane is going to be... Oh, we have a disconnect here from Lena, so there is going to be a pause. A lot of damage coming out in this top lane, and so far it's going to be a lot of magical damage. You saw Kinade poking Winter Wyvern as he kind of sat in the dire jungle here and attacked them from the flank a little bit. Both Kinade and Blue trying to get in as much counter harass damage as they can. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, you have a 1 vs 1 matchup between Moving Target and Bidman. Looks like both teams are ready to go. This is just a short disconnect there for Galactic, who's now back with the team. And with the positioning there, they're actually pretty lucky that Galactic's disconnect did not interrupt the pull attempt that Carolou was trying to pull off there. Not rotating back with his allies, he gets himself into a little bit of danger. Is it not going to let me select heroes this entire game? There we go.
You've been burned.
So, I was worried we were going to miss out on all the itemization that was going to go on without having to pull up crazy sidebars. Yen picks up a haste rune, pops refraction, and with haste, they're looking to make a move here. Coffee King blinks forward, tries to go on blue, but both teams have wards up, so they had vision, and Sanity's Eclipse wisely back all together. Now you have Yen kind of losing out on some experience, some farm, some time, everything else, and it gives I Like That Panda that space to the last hit. There you go.
Dire's middle tower be taking fire.
I'll just do the drag. The drag seems to be the most effective way to do this. With Yen returning, has a couple bottle charges, but she eats some harass damage and then pops her fract, and she's back into the mid farm role. With I Like That Panda constantly poking her, just one at a time, burning off those refraction charges. Yeah, Bidman looking to apply pressure to Moving Target anytime he pops out of his web there. But both teams look pretty content on just letting this bottom lane play pretty passive, and both of these players kind of get their farm.
Dire's bottom tower be under
Ping's
attack.
coming out from Lina on blue, but he picks up the invisibility rune, and he's going to be able to retreat back to wherever he wants. And where he wants to go is back up to this top lane. And get in position maybe behind the anti-mage, who's taking a little bit of harass here from the Viper, so he's sitting at under 500 HP. And now would be a good time to go on him because Lina is not in position to do much. So instead they decide to go on Carolou. It's going to be a bit of an easier target.
For my lack.
But he cold embraces himself up, and Lina makes it back over. Not quite enough to save Carolou, and now Galactic's going to be in quite a bit of danger herself. She does get the Light Strike Array off, but a little too late, and the Viper poison keeps ticking and drops her. So Coffee King able to outmaneuver the Invis rune enabled gank there, but the two supports
Dire's bottom
from
tower
Waifu
be under
falling in the
attack.
process. You got pings coming out on blue. They want to get him dead, but I don't think it's going to be quite that easy. Kinade providing some support harass here. Trying to keep Coffee King at least nervous, at least hesitant when he comes up to hit those creeps and get that last hit gold.
The Legion is grateful.
Bidman taking a bit of harass damage, steps back and grabs a healing cell from the courier. Well, I like that Panda rotates to the top rune and picks up a bounty rune for herself, which means there's the real rune to the bottom, but neither team are prioritizing vision down here right now, as they're going with an offensive try to match the defensive try going on in the top lane. There's a dive after blue, but blue drops Tombstone, some decays, and Coffee King blinks to just outside of the range of the Tombstone, but there was one zombie sitting on him, so the two supports throw out a few extra spells. The Cold Embrace, the Light Strike Array, drop the zombie and provide Coffee King a little regen and security. These decays and these poisons are just chipping away at him. Meanwhile, I missed it before, but moving target did get a kill down here against Bidman earlier. So the healing cell by itself was not enough to keep him up and running, and I missed another one in the mid lane. I like that Panda dropping Templar Assassin, so the Sanity's Eclipse bot lane falling, and the Waifu and Senpais mid lane dropping. We'll call that a bit of an even trade, but
be taken fire.
we know that all of these cores are looking to never fall, never falter, and just snowball out of control. But Yen, quick to get back to lane, and sprinting after I like that Panda with refraction up. I like that Panda is just going to step backwards, spot out that it's 8 minutes, rotate top, get the bounty rune, and bottle up.
Echelon.
Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Bidman gets this one, so that's both of the 8-minute runes going the way of Sanity's Eclipse. Take a quick look at the net worth chart, and you have I like that Panda on Sanity's Eclipse picking off Yen, providing her the second place net worth overall. And in the top lane, you have Kinade playing Viper with the highest net worth. And it shows that this this offensive tri-lane is working to kind of, at the very least, slow down the anti-mage's farm. Blue diving deep behind Coffee King here and dropping the tombstone. In the bottom lane, there is a quite literal trade with moving target Broodmother and Bidman on Legion Commander. Trading lives with one another, but now in the top lane, Waifu and Senpais are looking to make the turn and become a bit more aggressive here. Monolink on Anti-Mage is going to prevent him from following up too deeply, but they were able to drop Viper, who again was the highest net worth at the time, but with the trade-off kills in the bottom lane, moving target actually takes the lead now, so... I think just as importantly as getting that kill against the Viper, it's providing Coffee King's Anti-Mage here some time to get some farm. Monolink coming out on him though, and they're looking to again keep up pressure. So this top lane is just non-stop pressure. They start to go on Coffee King, and you have Viper breaking off to chase down the Winter Wyvern, and then he stops to try to chase down the Courier. And so far he doesn't get either, but now he's diving after Galactic, throwing out a bunch of poisons, and they're ticking for 22 each. But Carolou hits him with the Cold Embrace, and that's going to save her for now. But it means it is on cooldown, preventing him from casting it on Anti-Mage, who does fall after eating a big Illuminate Blast from Keeper of the Light. Meanwhile, Kinnade's just ignoring the tower and chasing down the remainder of the heroes. So that's all three top lane heroes falling. So you had Anti-Mage, Lina, and Winter Wyvern all falling. And if you want to take the fight back on the clock quite a ways, it would be a 3-for-1 because they were able to get Viper before he teleported back and kind of continued the siege. But now Coffee King has rotated to the bottom lane, moving target, moving in position behind the tier 1 tower here and cutting the creep wave.
Top tower be under attack.
Pops his ult, and between he and Anti-Mage, they're looking to see if they can drop this tower. I'm sure they heard the scroll of teleport here, and now they definitely see Blue jumping out. But moving target says, you know what, I don't care, I'm not interested in heroes right now. I'm going to cut the creep wave, and Blue, there's really not much you can do about it right now. So I'll let you duke it out with Anti-Mage over the tower. And now Blue's going to be in a bit of trouble. He has no creeps with him, and there's immediately a bunch of support teleports coming in. He drops Tombstone, and both cores for Waifu and Senpai look to make the retreat. So moving target rotating into the jungle, and then Coffee King rotating into the river. So
regeneration.
But moving target looks like he wants to try to engage here, feeling big after killing Bidman a few times. And he is going to be able to kill Blue, but the poisons are going to be there, and he's going to trade his life for it. So he is able to drop the Undying, but it cost him his life.
Dire's top tower be under attack.
Meantime, Waifu and Senpai look to group up themselves and push the middle tower here. Pink's coming out from both sides of the map. You have Lina alerting her allies to the fact that this top lane is taking a bit of damage. And then I like that Panda saying, hey guys, looks like they're pushing mid. Which is definitely what it looked like until they realized their tier 2 was under duress. The tier 1 bottom is also under duress as it falls, and that's the second tower of the game and the second tower for Sanity's Eclipse, falling in the first 13 minutes of the game here. Kinnade on Viper, taking back the net worth lead here with that tower drop. And he's sitting on a mechanism already, a Ring of Aquila. And they're looking to push this last remaining tier 1 tower. And yeah, it'll just back off. She knows it's gone. All 5 heroes here, and they know that Coffee King is not with them. They might look to continue this aggression and see what damage they can put into this tier 2 tower. Because the tier 1 tower fell, they do have a refreshed fort of the whatever it's called. Glyph of Fortification. A little dyslexia brain there for a second. But it's used, and Sanity's Eclipse are still here. They're still sitting pretty good. They still have the mechanism up and ready to go. So no real damage done to
Radiant's top tower.
Sanity's Eclipse here. Coffee King getting a little bit of space to farm himself, and moving target able to drop the bottom tower.
Radiant's top tower be under attack. Gormless swabbies.
Right now, they're aware of where Yen is,
Radiant's top tower.
and they're nuking it pretty hard, and it also forces Lena to get herself out of position, which allows Bidman to move up and drop her. But now the entirety of Waifu, which is down to 3 heroes, are looking to get engaged here. Moving target dives after Blue and does get him, but once again, every time he's getting that kill, he's also sacrificing his life to do so. That time the kill going the way of Keeper of the Light, so not the worst hero to feed, I suppose, but you don't want to be dying to kill an off-lane support. Especially since Bidman was able to get his ultimate off and steal damage from moving target before he was able to die. Just level 1 at this point, so it's just 10 damage, but over time it starts to add up, it starts to hurt. And now with comfortable map vision taken away, and I don't believe that Waifu are aware of this yet. They're certainly not positioned like they know of it. Yeah. They rotate into the Roche pit, and it's a 5-man team. They drop them pretty quick here. Let's see who picks it up. Probably Bidman. Looks like he's freed up the item block. And I like that panda.
Roshan! Rock!
Meanwhile, right now you have 4 heroes for Waifu and Senpais, either farming or rotating through their own jungle, and this shows that they're all desperate to get whatever farm they can. Looks like Galactic's actually going to be doing the support thing here and helping stack the creeps rather than just nuke them down and take them. But now in good health, relatively good mana, with an Aegis in hand and mechanism ready to go. Sanity's Eclipse is going to waste no time, and they're going to push up here. As soon as Galactic makes himself visible, Bidman blinks forward, pops duel, and they are able to kill Lena just outside of the duel timer. But a strong shackle shot connecting moving target in Yen is going to force the Broodmother into a very awkward position, and the nuke damage from Sanity's Eclipse is too much. Drops Broodmother, and then they reset their focus back to objective gaming and focus down the towers. Meanwhile, Coffee King had to rotate back to the side shop to pick up a scroll to get home, and now he's finally back with his allies, and they're up to a 5-man strength, so they're going to see if they can look to turn this. Moving target leading the charge, slowing down whoever he can.
Radiant's top tower be under attack.
They're diving after the Viper here, and they will be able to get it. And now it's just a chase. You have a shackle shot coming from I Like That Panda, trying to catch 2. This time it does not latch, but the duel on moving target is going to be almost enough to kill him. But Coraloo there with the Cold Embrace does save him long enough to prevent the duel from being successful. But at the end of the day, it's not enough. And Blue, I Like That Panda, and Jet are all standing strong. You have the final buybacks coming out from Winter Wyvern. I believe everyone else's have been used, or they do not have the gold to do so. They have buyback on Lena, but right now, it's just the two supports for Waifu and Senpai. And a gaping hole where the middle racks used to be. So far, Sanity's Eclipse. Let's take a look at the overall net worth chart, and with that push, yeah, you can see where they kind of started the siege into the middle lane here. About 4K net worth, and then just drove that middle lane. They rolled up the tier 1 into the tier 2, into the tier 3. They were rejected a little bit, went back, got the Aegis, reset, repushed, and took the racks. And that's given them a surge of gold, catapulting them from about 4 to about 12K in the past 5 minutes or so. Keeper of the Light trying to get a double stack going. He is able to get one of the two. And now Sanity's Eclipse. Slow down the pressure a little bit. You have I Like That Panda with a double damage rune, pushing the bottom lane here into Broodmothers, who's being played by Moving Target, but she teleports back to base.
Dire's top tower, the under
While
attack.
the remainder of her team is pushing this top lane. You have two kind of showing themselves, and then two hanging out in the jungle. Keeper of the Light popping his ultimate and recalling Windranger from the base back to the team. So they were able to push back that bot lane into nearly the tier 2, but Moving Target was there to defend it from eating too much real damage. And now they're back to the 5-man team push, which is what Sanity's Eclipse have been doing extremely well this entire season. And it's been incredibly difficult for teams to counter. So difficult that Sanity's Eclipse have not dropped a single game. So now Shatter Shot coming off, landing on both Yen and Carolou. Yen melding up, but in the middle of the pack is Moving Target versus Bidman. And so far, Moving Target's, he made it, he survived the dual damage again, but as he went to retreat, having dropped Bidman, the nuke damage was there and got him. Meanwhile, in the top here, you have I Like That Panda shooting a power shot kind of across 3 or 4 heroes for Waifu and Senpais, dodging the Light Strike array and just nickel and diming Lena to death. And then circling back over to Yen, and between the decay damage, the focus fires, the power shots, and Jet there, blinding Templar Assassin, and they're able to finish it off. GG's are called as the top lane was clearly set to fall. Buybacks were no longer available, and that's going to be game 1 between Sanity's Eclipse and Waifu versus Senpais, going the way of Sanity's Eclipse as they continue what has been an incredibly skillful and incredibly one-sided display of dominance throughout the Season 8 tournament of the AD2L League. I have been your caster, Darmin, coming to you live from twitch.tv/DarminCast. Well, live with a delay. It's a tournament game after all. And stay tuned, and we will be back for more Dota action as these two teams set up, regroup, and get ready for game 2. Stay tuned.